Hello everyone, and this is part 5 of creating a guided buying and bids in a buy process for tactical sourcing. This is a 5-part series where we show you how to set up a tactical sourcing process using the Ariba guided buying and bids in a buy form functionality. The first 4 parts we discussed how to set up a new tactical sourcing form for your different categories. We then created a new guided buying tile and linked it back to that sourcing form. We then configured the sourcing touch policies and set up your preferred supplier lists. Part 5, we'll then discuss how to configure your procurement policy based on your categories and commodities. The real value here is we're standardizing the tactical sourcing process. We're allowing your end users to purchase using a compliant and simple process all through the guided buying system. In the first 4 parts, we discussed how to create a new form in guided buying, how to create a new sourcing tile, and link it back to that guided buying form. We then showed you how to set up your preferred supplier list and go through the sourcing and supplier touch policies. So in the last part of the series, we'll be discussing how to set up your procurement validation process. So what we'll do is we'll set up how we can set up different notifications to users. So informational notes if they're trying to purchase a specific category. Set up a justification process where they'll need to submit a justification why they're purchasing that specific category. And then the last one is the error message. So revoking users from actually purchasing something from the guided buying solution. So to do that, you will require guided buying administrator access. Once you have that access, we'll jump into the admin section of the guided buying, go to the manage policies section. If you scroll down, you should be able to see the validation policy here. So you'll see here I've already got a few loaded up. If you've got none loaded in guided buying, I recommend you download the sample policy. And once you download that, just go ahead and open it up. And you should see there is a sample policy that we've loaded in there for you. There are 4 key tabs to keep an eye on. So you've got the description, just defines what the policy description is. You've got the key definition, which goes through when you want this to be applicable. You've got the expressions tab, which defines how you want it to interact with the system, and then the message tab, what message do you want the user to receive once this policy has been executed. So let's go ahead and create a new policy. So the easiest way to do this is just to copy that sample one or edit the sample one and then work from there. So the first one here, we'll just change this and we'll call it a new policy. And then we can just leave that policy description the same for now. Go to the key definitions tab. Again, we'll change the policy name. Again, the policy name needs to be unique and is used against all 4 tabs at the bottom there. So just make sure you copy the value or make sure it's the correct value. The only lookup here at the moment is the procurement unit. So if you have multiple procurement units set up in guided buying, you can split it up there. If you want this to be applicable to all users regardless of their procurement unit, just set the value to all. If we go to the expressions tab, this is where you define how you want the exception or the policy to be triggered. So again, we'll copy that policy name, and you'll see here there's a few fields. To get more information about these, I recommend going through the guided buying administration guide, and it should provide more information about which fields and operations you can use. In this example, we'll use 2. So the first one here, we'll use the commodity code, and we'll change this to the commodity code that you need it to be. And you'll see that it's a constant value, and you want to make sure it's equaling to that value there. If we want to create a new one, so what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and create a new policy here. And we'll apply one that's going to check the actual total cost of the requisition. And again, we'll do a constant, and we'll set the value here. So if anything over $100, it'll trigger this policy. So we'll also set the AND operator there. So what this will do is it'll say if the commodity code is equal 8016 and the total cost is over $100, the new policy that we're just setting up is going to be triggered. And lastly, the message we want users to receive. So you'll see here the severity can either be a justification, an info message, or an error message. Again, we'll just leave this as a justification for now. The message here, please specify the reason for why you're buying the item. Again, you can put whatever you want here. The last column here is the interesting one, so justification options. If you leave this empty, it means the user has to manually type in justification. If you put in multiple values here, it'll set up a drop down of values for the user to select from. I'm just going to leave this empty for now. Let's go ahead and save this. What we'll do is we'll go back into guided buying admin screen and load that newly updated policy file into the system. So just go ahead and select your file and click on the upload button there. You'll see that that new policy has just been uploaded. So to test this new policy, you can just go ahead and click on that test button there and select a requisition and then see if it applies to it or not. So now we've shown you how to create a new guided buying form, create a sourcing tile, link it back to the form, set up your sourcing and your supplier touch policies, set up your list of preferred suppliers, and now we've just showed you how to set up your procurement validation policies as well. I hope this series has been helpful. Thanks everyone. See you next time.